Hello, and welcome to Independence Hall in Philadelphia. This historical landmark is often referred to as the birthplace of the United States of America. It was here that the Founding Fathers gathered in 1776 to sign the Declaration of Independence, announcing our freedom from Great Britain. Later, in 1787, a meeting referred to as the Constitutional Convention took place here for the purpose of creating the Constitution of the United States. In this lesson, we will look at some of the events and reasons that the early colonists decided to fight for independence, and we will discuss some important historical figures from the early days of the United States. In the previous lesson, you learned about some of the reasons Europeans came to America in the 1600s and 1700s. These early settlers came to North America looking for religious freedom, political liberty, and economic opportunities. They set up 13 colonies on the East Coast that became the 13 original states. Those original 13 colonies were New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Each colony had its own government, but they were still under the control of the British king, King George III. By the 1770s, many of the colonists were getting angry about the high taxes that they had to pay to the king. Not only could they not govern themselves and make laws for themselves, the colonists didn't even have anyone representing them in Parliament. They were also very frustrated that they had to allow British soldiers to stay in their homes. In 1774, some colonists met in Philadelphia to discuss the increasingly unfair British laws. At this meeting, they determined that the people needed to have more control over their government. In 1775, colonial leaders met again and decided to create an army. George Washington became the general of the Continental Army. On April 18, 1775, British soldiers left Boston to go to Concord, Massachusetts to search for ammunition stockpiles held by colonial militiamen. The Revolutionary War began on April 19, 1775, when the British troops clashed with colonial militiamen in Lexington and here, at the North Bridge in Concord, Massachusetts. This battle that started the Revolutionary War was later called the Shot Heard Round the World. Several British soldiers were killed in the skirmish, marking the first victory of the colonists in the fight for independence from Great Britain. Today, this is the site of the Minuteman National Historical Park. It's a place for visitors to explore the battlefields and learn more about the history of the Revolutionary War. In 1776, leaders again went to Philadelphia to meet at Independence Hall. At this meeting, they agreed that the colonies needed to become independent from Great Britain. So, they asked Thomas Jefferson to write the Declaration of Independence, which was adopted on July 4, 1776. The Declaration of Independence announced America's independence from Great Britain, and declared some rights for people that could not be taken away. These rights included life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Revolutionary War was long and very difficult, but in 1783 the colonists finally won their independence. General George Washington became a national hero for leading America to independence. In 1789, George Washington was chosen as the first president of the United States. He served as president until 1797. In December of 1799, Washington died, here at his home in Mount Vernon. He was 67 years old. Americans refer to George Washington as the father of our country for his important contributions in helping the United States of America to be free. That's all of the material for this lesson on establishing independence. Next, we will review some civics test questions that were covered in this lesson. Alright, let's get started with that review. There were 13 original states. What were 3 of them? You can answer any 3 of the following: New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, or Georgia. Why did the colonists fight the British? You can answer any one of the following: high taxes, taxation without representation. The British Army were able to stay in their houses, boarding/quartering. They didn't have self-government. They weren't able to make laws on their own. What did the Declaration of Independence do? You can answer any one of the following: announced our independence from Great Britain, declared our independence from Great Britain, said that the United States is free from Great Britain. What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? July 4, 1776. When do we celebrate Independence Day? July 4th. Who is the father of our country? George Washington. Who was the first president? George Washington. That's all of the civics test questions for this unit. Remember, you can always review the civics test questions by using the flashcards in the app. Thanks for taking part in today's lesson. We hope to see you again for a future lesson.